Morning folks, it's Bob out here at Serenity Hill. Well, today is my birthday. I turned a whopping 66. You know, it's funny, when I was younger, I'd have never thought I'd turn this old. But here I am, and celebrating turning 66 by getting ready to go out and cut some more boards out of a tree that a friend had fallen. I'd been out there a few weeks back and cut one into boards, and it started on a second one, the second one of three that I've got to cut out there. And the thing is, I've got a 24-inch bar on my chainsaw here with my Alaska mill. And the problem was it's too small. The log that I've got down at towards the butt end of it, it's too wide, and I really don't want to cut it narrower because I want to take advantage of that width. And so what I did is I went and I bought a 28-inch bar and ripping chain to replace my 24 on my Alaska mill, so I can get that done. And now the neat thing about this Alaska mill is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chainsaw off of this so I can change the bar and then put it back on. Maggie, what are you doing? Everything on this, one of the things I love about this Alaska mill is everything on this can be, all the fasteners on it can be adjusted with your scrunch that you use for your chainsaw, same size bolts. The only problem is the ones that you have to use for taking the chain, the bar off of it, those you have to use a wrench. It's a 13 millimeter, and that's just a matter of loosening those 4 bolts. And it's really crazy. Everything else on it is designed so that you can get to it and change it, but these, where they're located, you can't get to it with the scrunch. It's the weirdest thing, but hey, nothing's perfect, right? But the fact that you can use your scrunch to adjust it, like to adjust the height or the depth of your cut, those nuts, you use your scrunch on it. To adjust the width, you can use of the thing, you can use your scrunch on it, which is really kind of a neat deal. But at any rate, but these I've got to use a wrench for, and I just use my box end wrench. And if you're like most people, most of us out there, it seems like we've got tools. I got a truck box on my truck, and I've got a full complement of tools in it. Now we'll see how easy this comes off. And there you go. Got the mill off my saw, and now it's just a matter of taking the old bar off and putting the new one on, which is always interesting because the old bar and the old chain, they've stretched. So before I take it off, I always loosen it up real good, because the new one invariably is going to be much tighter. And I'll go ahead and put this bar and chain, I'll go ahead and put those in the truck, just in case I decide I need to change back. That's one of the neat things about a chainsaw. And again, I bought a I bought a set one with a 71cc motor, so it's got the oomph to handle it. If you've got a smaller saw, it's going to have a hard time with the bar and chain this long, because it can really dig in. And now this is kind of an experiment, because I was trying to save a buck or two. So I bought a Holtz Forma bar and chain. And Holtz Forma is it sounds German, but it's not. It's a Chinese company. And I know that's terrible. I bought one from China, but it's not one that I use real often. I don't see myself using the 28-inch bar out there cutting cedars. And I just want to make sure. Yep, I got it. There's nothing like putting the chain on and going out to use it and realizing you've got the chain running backwards. That really sucks. So it's pretty neat. You know, my wife was asking me this morning before she headed off to work. She says, wished me a happy birthday and asked me what I was going to do to celebrate my birthday. And I said, I'm going to go cut some boards. My dad called me and asked me, wished me a happy birthday. Told him I was going to be leaving in a few minutes to go cut some trees. He said, "Oh, you're gonna cut some cedars?" No, not cutting cedars. I've got a log that I need to cut up into boards. Okay, for some reason that's not wanting to turn. Slipped off the tooth, I think. Oh, brake is on. You know, I was trying to set it up to rotate it, to set it up, and it wasn't rotating. And I thought maybe I didn't have a chain right, but the brake was on. At least I know the brake works. So we'll see how this chain does, this bar and chain. Like I said, they're from a Chinese company. I know I've seen quite a few people on YouTube that have bought the Holtz Forma chainsaws. They'll bill it on YouTube as I bought the cheapest chainsaw on Amazon. I think you can get them for $100, $200. And you know, when you think about that, it's pretty much, at that price, it's pretty much a throwaway. Because you take one to get it worked on, and it's going to cost you that much to get it worked on. There's my wrench. I'm real bad about it. I set the tools down and then can't find them. All right, now what I have to do here is get this back on here, and I'll have to loosen the end. As you see, it's not difficult. If I can do it that easy, it can't be too difficult. And again, your scrunch works to do this. And I'll just loosen these bolts here, or these nuts rather. And then I can slide this out. got this guard around the end of it, and there we go. Keep some clearance on the guard so that I don't get stuff built up in there. And then down here, now I can take advantage of more width of cut. So I can get a wider board, take advantage of the fact that that tree is so big, and especially the one I'm going to be cutting. Most of my boards I'm going to be cutting 1 inch thick, and that way I'll plane that after they dry, they'll still be 1 inch thick because it's not going to shrink in thickness, not significantly anyway. And then what I will do is I've got a couple that I'll cut 1 inch, and then down close to the center of it, just above where the pith is, I'll cut one that's 2 inches thick. The reason I'll be cutting one that's 2 inches thick is that's going to be the bar top for the divider between the kitchen and the dining room. And I've got a board I was planning on using for that, but this log is this log is thicker, or is wider, and so it'll produce a wider log for a wider board. And I thought that would look nice. This is the worst part of it because it's the hardest part to get to. Why they didn't put them from the bottom, I don't know, so that you could tighten from the bottom, and that way you could use your scrunch on all of them, but oh well. This has got, it's just got pads on it that clamp down on the chain, and after you've got it on, you want to make sure that it's not so tight that your chain doesn't want to move. All right, so there it's set up. It's at 1 inch. Time to gas it up and go. And I'll take my tools with me. That way, if I do need to change a bar, if I decide to go narrower with it, I can. All right, so that's all it is. It went from a 24 inch to a 28 inch bar in that amount of time, and now it's time to close this thing up and head over to my buddy's house and start cutting boards out of that log. All right, so I've been out here cutting for a few boards. I've got so far I got 3 1 inch thick boards, and they range from 18 inches at the widest point, narrows down to 17. 15.5 at the center. Down here at the end, at the narrowest part, it's what, over 12 inches, just a little over 12 inches, including the sapwood. So I'll be able to get some real nice panels out of that. This is a 2 inch thick slab that I cut, and this is going to end up being my bar top. I think I'll flip it over. I was going to flip it over. Can't do it with one hand. I just got some nice quarter sawn grain, but the board that I cut just above, right after that, has all kinds of quarter sawn in it. So I think on the bottom of this board, it's going to be a lot of quarter sawn grain, and I love the quarter sawn. So I'll probably flip that over and use the other side for the top. All right, we'll see how this works. To show you how this thing works out, it uses a lot of gas. These are about 9.5 foot long, and with the length and the width of it, after I do a board, I go ahead and top off the gas, because it would run out on me probably about 2 foot at the most. And that's a pain in the neck when it runs out of gas while it's in a log. Oops. I really don't like these new gas cans. Now, I can go about 2 tanks full before I top off with oil, but I just make it a habit of putting oil in every tank full, because as soon as I don't, I'll forget and I'll run dry. And that's a bad thing. That'll eat up a chain in a bar in a hurry if you run dry with it. So I just fill up every time. All right, so there you have it. I got 6 more 1-inch boards and 1 2-inch board out of this log. The rest of it's just that last cut slab. Not really any more that I can get out of it. I'll take that and cut it up and it'll be firewood or something. So anyways, now as you saw me doing that, yeah, I'm breathing kind of heavy because it's a lot like work. It uses a lot of gas. This particular log is close to 10 foot long, and it takes probably 3/4 of a tank of fuel to do one of these boards. Of course, they're pretty wide. On an 8-foot log that's a little narrower, I can get about 2 per tank of gas before it runs out. What I prefer to do is when I finish a cut, go ahead and top off the tank, top off the oil. That way I don't have to worry about it running out on me halfway through the board, because the chainsaw is like a lot of other things. You know, if I fill it up with gas, if I shut it off and fill it up with fuel, it'll start with 1 pull. Now, if I let it run out of fuel and let it just die for running out of fuel, it'll take 10, 12 pulls sometimes before the thing will start. Not just 1 partial pull, actually, to get it to fire back up. So I prefer to do it that way. All right, now the fun. Tote these to the truck, get them thrown up on the truck. The 1-inch ones aren't going to be so bad. I can pick those up, but that 2-inch one, that sucker's heavy because this wood is still pretty wet. This tree was cut down, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, but it's been lying here and so it hasn't lost that much moisture lying here on the ground with all the bark on it. So that's heavy, but that'll make a real nice top for my bar. All right, I'll check back with you when I get this stuff loaded up in my kiln.
That's all my pictures. Yep. They're all gone? Yes. All my pictures are gone. Just kidding.
Want to get some fish, Taylor?
Oh, look at this, Marcel. You're going to have her with all 4 of them, huh? All right, boys. We'll see you in Doniphan. You're making it.
He's trying to drink the water. He's like,
I'm getting wet, Tom.
Stand up, stand up.
How do you know what it is?
Ashley, you ain't joking. This thing's strong.
All right. Well, It's a couple days later, and I finally got boards in my kiln. Today is one of the cooler days we've had in a while. It's in the mid 80s, and the temperature in here is up about 115 degrees in the kiln. So I'm not sticking around here. It's hot. But getting wood in the kiln, more wood to dry, and that's a good thing. I've got 2 more logs at my neighbor's place to cut. I got 1 here to cut, and I've got several trees that I'm going to be cutting down here. Some of those I'll cut into boards, and some of those I'll use for posts for my barbecue pavilion that I'm going to be building. So I hope you enjoyed that little video from the float trip that we went on. Our granddaughter has gone with us 2 or 3 times on float trips down the Current River, and she decided that she wanted to do one with her boys. And so we went with our granddaughter and her fiance and 4 of our 5 great grandsons, and we had a time of it. The only problem is, I wear jeans all the time when I'm out here working, so I've got a pretty good tan. And when I'm riding my bike, I got good tan on my arms and face. But my legs haven't seen much sun. Well, I put sunscreen on my legs, but then we stopped to swim, and I neglected to put more sunscreen on. So my legs got burnt pretty good. So Monday and Tuesday, when the temperature was up in the upper 90s, boy, I was struggling pretty bad, hurting bad, because you get a bad sunburn, and boy, it just saps your tolerance for heat. So didn't get much done on those 2 days, but it's a lot nicer now. But we had a great time. It seems like every time I do something, I learn another lesson, usually the hard way. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that about getting some boards cut so I can get them dried and bring them in here for more projects. I've got another project that I'm getting ready to start on. I'm going to build a little cabinet that'll go between the toilet and the wall, and it will have space for the toilet brush and the holder and the cleaning supplies that Deb uses, and it'll also have space to store toilet paper rolls, and then of course a couple doors on it to cover everything. But I'm going to be building that, believe it or not, out of birch. I've got some 3/4 inch birch plywood left over from my bench top, and it's going to be just enough to be able to cut down and use to make that stand. And I love it when, instead of having to go out and buy more stuff, I can use material left over from another project. You get every little bit out of the boards that you can. And I'm gonna go ahead and with it being the birch, I'm gonna go ahead and use the black stain on that, the same as I used on the vanity, so it will match the vanity. So that's what I got going next. I'll be with that project, and then I got to get out and cut some more cedar trees, and work never finishes around here. I just finished wetting my plants, give in some more water, got stuff in the containers, and boy, I tell you, it has to be watered every day, because you just lose so much moisture through the sides of the containers, or this non-woven grow bags. So they have to be watered every day. And just the normal everyday stuff that you do. And of course, my projects that I'm doing around the house to finish up the house. Next week, I'm going to be working on insulation in the in the house, which I've been really looking forward to, because getting insulation in that roof is in that ceiling is an important thing. Our electricity has been through the roof because with the air conditioning trying to keep up with the fact that there's tall ceilings with no insulation in them and a lot of heat coming through that. So that's coming up. It's going to be good weather to do it next week, because it's not going to be as hot either. All right, listen, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you liking and sharing our videos and taking the time to spend some time with us. You know, don't be afraid to get out there and do something, make some things happen for yourself, have some fun, and make something happen. This is Bob at Serenity Hill. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.